strength. She did not believe that marrying Rory Ferguson would make any difference at all, except to make her life miserable. Leith felt an urgency to get home, and not because it was growing late. He knew that their father was well aware of the man Rory had become. Just as Leith could not understand his father's attitude toward Aimil, the prettiest and most personable of his daughters, so too was he unable to understand how their father could think of marrying her off to such a man. The more Leith thought of his favourite sibling in the hands of Rory Ferguson, the more determined he became to put a stop to the marriage. Whatever plans Leith may have begun were lost, as horsemen bearing the MacGuin colours burst upon the quiet glade. Young Archstead MacGuin wondered what young fools had so unwittingly placed themselves in the path of his raiding party's return to its lair. Recognising the Mengue colours, he thought to impress his elder brother with some captives for ransom. The excellent horseflesh the pair of lads had with them was a prize worth taking as well. His brother had not sanctified Archstead's raids, but Archstead felt sure that such gain would ease whatever anger was aroused by them. Drawing his sword, Leith stood firmly between Aimil and the MacGuin raiders, pushing her toward her horse. "Flee while you can. I will try to hold them." The instant's pause Aimil took while pondering the desertion of her brother cost her dearly. She had barely vaulted onto the back of her steed when a MacGuin was there, trying to seize her reins. He received a small booted foot in the face which sent him flying. She realised it was only a temporary victory, for she was surrounded by MacGuins and prevented from making a run for safety. She and her horse put up a valiant battle nonetheless, leaving many a MacGuin and his mount with bruises to remember. The melee seemed to last for hours, but Aimil knew it was only of a few minutes' duration. A scowling man ended it swiftly by the judicious wielding of the flat of his sword against her head. As she slumped into unconsciousness, she saw her brother fall beneath a half-dozen MacGuins. The last sound she made was a terrifying scream that Leith was about to be murdered. The strong smell of horseflesh was her first sensation as she edged back into awareness. She then realised that she was tied to the back of her horse, her face pressed against his sweat-dampened coat. They moved at a ground-covering pace, but her body seemed numb to the abuse. All except her head, she mused with regret, which throbbed with each hoof-beat. She could not see Leith, so she could only assume that he was in a similar ignominious position just out of view. The thought that he might be dead was one she forcibly rejected. The strong keep of the MacGuins came into her limited range of vision, and the horses slowed their pace. Her heart sank, for once inside the gates it would be nearly impossible to escape. Though no soldier, she easily recognised the strength of the place as a fortress and a prison. There was no doubt in her mind that she and Leith would be ransomed, but even the shortest term of imprisonment made her quake. Was her disguise still intact, she fretted, and if it was, how long would it remain? She had heard enough to know how she would be treated if these fierce Highland raiders discovered that one of the lads they held was really a lass.
"So, ye be awake? Well, I will wager all the fight has been ridden out of you, laddie."
Her eyes closed briefly in relief, then she glared at the burly dark man who was untying her bonds. He looked nothing like a man who would cut a man's heart out without a blink, but she was wiser now. She did not trust so easily, especially not in her own opinions. After all, she had felt that her father's love was secure, and she had been proven painfully wrong.
"Here now, there isn't any use in your looking like that, me wee gilly,"
the man scolded jovially, as he released the last bond holding Aimil, then caught her as she slid helplessly from the broad back of Elf King.
"Ye are in no state to carry out the threat in them eyes."
"Put them in the dungeon, Malcolm," Archstead ordered coldly. Still supporting the weakened Aimil, Malcolm frowned.
"They be only a pair of lads, and nae two healthy ones at the moment."
Archstead scowled. "Those lads have sore bruised half my men, aye, and several good mounts. In the dungeon with them. Leastwise there I will only have to worry about a close guard until Parlan returns and decides what is to be done with them. Best if he decides the ransom to be asked." Malcolm continued to frown as he picked Aimil up in his arms, since the lad seemed too groggy to walk. He noted that the other young man needed carrying as well. To put two young boys into the pit, as the dungeon was aptly called.